Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy, such as the Deferred Sales Trust, is the best way for you to grow your wealth. Hey, I'm your host, Brett Swartz. In each episode, I am joined by some of the best financial independents, real estate, and wealth minds in the world, where they share their ideas, deal stories, and inspiration. So together we can make complex tax deferral strategies simple and passive income plans achievable. I'm excited about our next guest. He is the founder of a couple companies, and he is in the tech, fintech space, applied AI space, and he is an expert when it comes to building and understanding software and how this whole world is definitely changing at a rapid pace. He is in the Silicon Valley East Bay location here in California, and he's the founder and investor of Copilot and Awake. Please welcome to the show with me, Amit Rathore. Hey, Amit, how are you doing today?
Very well. Thank you for having me, Brett.
Excellent. Would you give our listeners a little bit about your background and your current focus?
Sure. So my background primarily has been in e-commerce and media, building large-scale tech platforms that help businesses, compete primarily today with, say, the likes of Amazon and the likes of Facebook. Because for small businesses, the online world is where it's at. And the online world today comprises of these big tech platforms. So that means you have to know how to work with them. You have to know how to navigate business opportunities that are out there. And all that technology that's constantly shifting and changing, it becomes a challenge. So that's kind of where I've focused all my life. I've been building software to help small and medium and large businesses compete with the biggest, tech companies. Been doing that pretty successfully, and now we're building something even more unique at Awake that helps. Our goal is to help over 100 million people earn an income, and to, in this case, preserve that income and wealth that they can generate. So pretty
Absolutely.
excited to talk about this.
Yeah, I love that. And then, by the way, you can find that at shoptype.com as is the initial launch. It's SHOP type.com. And also you can find Amit at your other website, which is awake.vc, right? Or
That's right.
awoke.vc. Yeah.
Awake.vc. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, excellent. And so in this episode, we're just kind of doing a teaser episode for the full episode that's going to drop here soon on iTunes and all the major platforms. But we're focusing on one of the biggest challenges, right? Being that you're in the tech world, you're near Silicon Valley, you're also in the I think the cryptocurrency space. What's been the biggest frustration you've seen when it comes to capital gains tax deferral for folks that are very successful in their businesses and then they go to sell a highly appreciated asset?
Yeah, the primary problem is simple, right? They end up paying too much in taxes. So you have a lot of, every country, by the way, is different. And I just talking about the United States or, the major, capital centers of the world. You have to have a global tax strategy. You've got to think through your tax options. You got to be clear about what's going to happen in the medium to long term. All of that stuff is complex and difficult. And certainly most entrepreneurs that I know, most people that are in business, they're not experts at that. And so they, don't do it. And then they have to they're in a complex situation. So that I think is the biggest challenge when it comes to these things.
Yeah, just gaining clarity on it, right? And I guess what we like to say is having a dream team built around you, because you're right. Most inventors and creators of either tech companies or different things, they're so focused on their craft and they're so good at that, but they just don't know or aren't a part of tax strategy.
Correct.
Or even finance, right? So you've got to build the dream team around you and make sure that you're protected, especially before you go to sell, right? Because if you do some pre-planning, just a little bit of pre-planning, you can defer a ton of tax. And we just did a business sale. It was a marketing business. It was about a $2.6 million sale, 3 partners, and they one wanted to go to a new venture, and the other 2 didn't want to sell the business, and so they worked a deal where the 2 bought the 1 out. But the challenge was he had a zero basis and about a $2.6 million gain, And so when he was going to sell, he was going to pay about $600,000 of capital gains tax and depreciation recapture. So instead of paying that, he was able to move it into our strategy, which is called a deferred sales trust. And then the cool thing was he's able to use those funds to start his next venture, which is developing commercial real estate, all tax deferred. So it is absolutely possible. And if you're listening to this for the first time and you have
Very
either
interesting.
cryptocurrency or business, you can defer the tax.
Yeah, that's something that people can do right away. They can start doing this. They can talk to you today, and they can start thinking about this new approach of transactions.
You got it. Exactly.
And is it
And
this?
for
Does the size matter?
Yeah,
How
good
big
question. So
or
we
small?
does need to be about a million or more in regards to the actual net proceeds. So if you had a business that was
Okay,
worth 2.5 million, but you had $1.5 million of debt, that would work. But if you had a business that's worth $1.5 million, but you have a million of debt, it's probably going to be too small. So we need
got
to
it.
have about a million minimum of
In
net
net
proceeds.
proceeds.
And then the actual gain needs to be big enough too, right? We want to make sure that we're deferring enough to offset the fees. So the gain needs to probably be about $400,000 to $500,000 of gain, and that typically, like California, you have 13.3%, you have 3.8 for Medicare tax, and then you have 20 for federal. You add that up, it's about 37%. And then you're looking at about so if you have about a $500,000 gain, you're probably looking at somewhere around 180,000 or so in tax, and those are kind of some good numbers. Our average deal is 2.6 million to 2.9 million, and we're deferring somewhere between $400,000 and $500,000 of tax. But if you drop below certain amounts, you don't have enough gain, and you don't have enough, the corpus of the actual equity to offset the fee. So you can learn more about that at capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. That's a great question. So thanks for asking that. So that being said, Amit, touch briefly about Shoptype and then where folks can find you, but we're going to dive into the full interview here coming up. But for folks who want to just give them a kind of a taste or a teaser for what you're doing there.
Sure. So, like I said, I spend most of my life in e-commerce, helping people sell things online. And because I was in that space, I ended up also in the media space, because media and marketing and all those pieces drive commerce. Media drives commerce. So that's the reason we are in this digital space, if you will. And the digital space, like I said, means today the internet. And the internet today means things like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn and Snapchat and Twitter and all that. This is all the big tech that we talk about. And if you're a small to medium business, and if you're doing digital stuff like we're doing now, and you're doing on Apple or Google or all these places, they take 30%. And if you talk about driving a sale using marketing for a small to medium company, that's 5, 10, 15%, often. So you're talking about up to 50% of your P&L just in getting the business before you even start, right? So we're talking about this massive arbitrage which the big tech companies are doing today. They're renting our information out to every single small, medium business out there and charging them this number, basically. Because big companies can probably afford it, right? One could say it's fine. If Apple and what is it, that company, game company is having a fight, that's okay because it's worth billions, right? But Netflix or whatever can afford it. These big companies can afford to pay Apple their fees. And even there, they negotiate hard. But the small guys have nothing, no negotiation, nothing. You got to pay this, finished. So what we do is we've solved this problem. Shoptype creates a new kind of internet-based marketing and sales network. Everybody joins. You get a wallet, regular fiat money, US dollars, whatever currency that people are operating in. And whatever now you do on the internet, like you share somebody's products, you share content on Facebook, you share it on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you do that with Awake, with Shoptype. You get paid directly for all that activity when sales happen. Fundamentally, that's all. So
Fantastic. So you're
everything
saving 30 to
changes.
50% up front, right? That you would have been paying, and basically you're kind of decentralizing all of that big tech, and you're bringing it back to the people and letting them basically cut that cost and make that saving so they can make more of a profit.
Correct. And now you can pay people post-paid. So that means you're able to advertise to the universe saying, you know what, guys, I'm going to give you up to 50%, same amount of money that I give Facebook, and I'll let you make money on my products. And I will share my entire economy with you. This is the sharing economy plus plus. This is the future of the internetwork of networks where we all connect and come back together as people and use all the internet platforms for our use, not the other way around.
So exciting. I want to dive all into that in the future interview. But for folks who want to find Amit right now, you can go to shoptype.com or awake.vc and look for the full interview to drop here soon on all the major platforms. And thank you so much for listening. Okay, bye.